All right, so good evening, everyone, and it's a pleasure hosting everyone tonight again on our weekly Kaizen book review, which will be facilitated by myself, and the book will be reviewed by Ben Nweke Nwosu, who is a very close friend and an erudite scholar. Just to do a bit of recap, we started the review of Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller about 11 weeks ago. And for me, the book has been very insightful and I've learned a lot. I've also received feedback from friends and participants that the book has really done a lot of positive transformation in their lives. And just a bit of review before, or quick refresh before I will hand over the digital or virtual mic to Ben. The book has 3 parts. The part 1 of the book was tagged Success Begins in the Mind. And in this section, Jeff Keller tried to paint a scenario to make us understand that positive attitude, it is inside out, meaning that you will have to conceive it before you're able to exhibit it. The second part of the book, titled Watch Your Words, focus on the power of words and how words can change our lives, right? And it's like telling us about the impact of positive or the use of positive words in changing our mindset and our attitude and the impact it has on how we relate to people. And then to the third part, which we are currently reviewing, is Heaven Helps Those Who Act. And this is mainly focusing on action. He has told us about the mindset. He has told us about the words and how it impacts our attitude. Now, it is about doing it and getting it done and using all those. Last week, Evelyn took us through the impact of ACT now, but with a special focus on associate with positive people. And this is telling all of us that associating with positive people has a lot of impact on how we change our attitude using the positive people around us. And today we'll be talking about confronting our fears, or the way Jeff used it, confront your fears. And like I said earlier, my colleague and friend, Ben Nweke, will be taking us through this. So I'll hand over the virtual mic to him to talk to us within 15 minutes. His understanding, the insights that he wants to share with us with his practical experience. Never mind his beards. You can see that both of us, we have beards. But when you talk about beards, is the attitude in his own beard is bigger than my own. So I'll be handing over the floor, or opening the floor for Ben to take us through the insights. So Ben, over to you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Kazim. It's really awesome to be here. I know that the last review session was my first, and I'm still trying to catch up with the entire book. But it's been amazing so far. Um, I would like to start with a quote by Ralph Emerson: "Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain." Gil Eagles in the book stated that if you want to be successful, then you must be willing to be uncomfortable. So some of the things that I'll be speaking to has to do with the comfort zone as highlighted in the portion that we are currently reviewing for this week. But let me start with some a practical experience that I had, that quickly jumped at me while I was going through this. Now, I was born and I grew up outside of the country and in Cameroon, so it's not Jackpa land, just in Cameroon, yeah. But I had very little interaction with Nigeria, as it were, and the few things that we knew then was hugely negative, right? The thefts, the bank robberies, and no lights, and all of those negative things, So I already had a disdain, a dislike, a fear for the country called Nigeria. So when my parents had said, "Oh, you're going to go to school, do your university studies in Nigeria," it was something else for me. Now, let's frog leap to service. Now, to make matters worse, I was then asked to serve in Kaduna. Right now, I wasn't used to Nigeria. I hadn't even gotten used to the country, and then I was asked to serve in Kaduna. Now, what during service, I did see a lot of opportunities, a lot of um, opportunities within that particular state. However, the fear that I had of not being able to integrate properly, all the negative things that have been fed into me, made it difficult for me to take that step, that bold step, to take to take advantage of those opportunities. And so I ran back home. I practically ran back home, and went back to my father's house, which was a comfort zone for me, you know. But I saw friends, cousins that had graduated before me that were not doing anything. And so the outcome of my life, while comfortable, was not appreciated by me because I knew I could do a whole lot better. I could not see myself as a landlord's son. I needed to do something for myself, and that was the beginning of me realizing that I needed to take action. And so I made a decision one day to say, you know what, I'm going to go to Lagos. I had practically very few contacts in Lagos, and I said, if I don't get an offer within the first 2 weeks of being to Lagos to job hunt, then I will go back to Cameroon. I will know Nigeria is not for me. And I took action and I came to Lagos. Now, my first job in Lagos wasn't anything fantastic. In fact, what I was offered as salary was less than what I was making during service, but I took it. And I took it because the offer came within the first 2 weeks. I wasn't proud about it. I didn't let my parents know because I felt ashamed that after all the investments, this is the best I could do, a 20,000 naira paying job. But eventually I was able to have conversations with my dad, and he said something. He said, "Hunger will get hope, no the cure." So that I should just persevere and do the most that I can, not to be ashamed of myself, but the fact that I'm taking action, is something that is appreciated. And the power of positive words propelled me. I got a raise within 3 months, of working there. And then I got an offer from a fantastic financial institution. However, the day of the interview, I could not even afford to get myself a proper suit. Now, this is a real life story. So I had to lie. I had to lie that I lost a relation of mine, so could they postpone it? And they did postpone it. So I was able to then go and buy a coat, not even a suit, with the big ties and everything, And I attended the interview against people with so much experience within the financial sector, but I was able to scale through. Now, because of time, just to summarize it, now for me, I wouldn't have been where I am today if not for taking action and the role of positive words in my life by the people that I have in my inner circle. I had to leave my comfort zone. I have to leave my father's house, being the landlord's son, to go to a place where I was paying about maybe 7, 5, 10,000 inside Agudapako, very dirty, but I had to make myself, I had to make something for myself. And that was the step I took. And today, I am living in Lekki, as it were. So everything being said, everything that we read in this book, it's very easy to practicalize. And for me, it is more or less like the truth. And it's something that we can hold on to. Now, being afraid is a human thing. So it doesn't make you, it's not disadvantaged. It doesn't make you abnormal. It's normal. It's a normal reaction, because as human beings, while we are growing up, we are taught to avoid things that make us uncomfortable. So if a baby is going towards a place he wants to fall, we say, come back, don't fall. Don't do this. Stop doing that. So naturally, we are conditioned, to move away from things that make us uncomfortable. But the truth is, those things that make us uncomfortable is where we are able to expand the opportunity to learn new things. And so while your child is growing up, they would also balance, pediatricians will always balance the conversation to say, let the child explore. Let the child make some mistakes here and there, not the ones that would harm them physically, but it's important that you allow the child to explore his or her environment. It helps with, the growth of the brain. Now, the thing is, when we are met with uncertainties, new experiences, making decisions about the unknown, the first reaction, which is natural, is usually fear. First reaction. But what everything in this book is trying to condition our minds towards is, do not act on that first experience, that first perspective of fear. Rather, react from a place of understanding, react from a place of experience, react from a place of positive thinking, a positive attitude towards that challenging situation. Understand that fear is one of the greatest um, killers of growth. It really is. So, what we are expected to do is think of your comfort zone as a face me, I face you kind of apartment, and then you're working every day to expand it. So, it is not a one time thing, right? It's not a one-time thing, friend. So it's not like saying, "Oh, I stepped out of my comfort zone today, being the 2nd of November. I've done it. Hooray!" No, it is a continual thing, because you need to continuously expand your comfort zone. You need to expand it, and once you get familiar, once you get comfortable, then you take on the next challenge. So it's a continuous thing to expand your comfort zone. And one of the consequences of fear is worry. And the truth is, and even research supports this, is the fact that over 85% of the things we worry about, they never really happen. They don't they don't materialize, and it's a function of us overthinking, over analyzing, over trying to be very prepared not to fail. you know those things are the things that drags us towards, taking those necessary actions. Right now, some of the common fears that we have: fears of maybe relocation, moving to a new place, taking on a new job, speaking to seniors at work or seniors at home, challenging status quo. Those are the things that we typically would be afraid to want to do. Now, how do we combat that fear? I've mentioned one of the first things we should do: do not act on that first instinct of fear. Act from a place of understanding. Have you tried to understand what that new situation is, what the challenges would be? Have I tried to appreciate the opportunities that lie thereof? The second thing is act. Don't overthink. Act. Right? Take action. Take action. Do not fear failure. Do not fear failure. One of the I've spoken about the downsides of fear, but there are some upsides of it to it as well. One of the things is you avoid yourself the propensity to fail, in quotes, right? So you don't fail and you're comfortable. That could be seen as a benefit. You don't go through the anxiety of, am I going to succeed or not? That could be an advantage of it. But what do you stand to lose? Everything. You stand to lose everything. Being fulfilled in life, taking those next steps, expanding your horizon, you stand to lose a whole lot more, if you choose not to act. You get to a point where you seem very powerless to speak to situations, circumstances that surround you or that come up around you, because you have always acted within the confines of your fear. Now, the courage to act is not the absence of fear. So what I am trying to say is, if you do these things, therefore fear would never exist. No, fear would always creep in. But the 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 the, the, the ability to move further despite fear, that's courage. The same way success is not the absence of failure, it is the ability to move further despite failing. So, all the wonderful examples of successful people we can quote today are people that have failed more than you and I have. That's the funny thing. They are more successful than us today. The Elon Musk, the Mark Zuckerberg, you know, uh, Warren Buffett, a whole lot of them, right? They are a whole lot more successful than we are today, with due respect to everybody on the call. However, they have also failed more than we have. So, what does that tell us? That most often than not, success is, um, how do they put it, positively inclined with how many times you have tried and failed. So we can't give up. So the I'm not preaching or I'm not saying the absence of fear. I am saying, in spite of that initial reaction of fear, you are able to move on. Running away from fear has always and would always be a losing strategy. Being able to conquer your fear, being able to act in spite of your fear, is the way to go. Having that I can do positive attitude is the way to go. And that is where I would like to maybe give a break, with respect to the review, just to land by saying that if we are to make it in life, then we need to act in spite of our fears. Thank you. I hope I was audible throughout and my network did not fail me.
At all, at all.
So I would pause at this point. Oh, thanks, Kazim. So I'll pause at this point and check if we have any messages or contributions
All right. So thank you so much.
from anyone on the call.
Okay, so
Thank
thank you so much, Ben, for
you.
that fantastic review. And like I said, it was short and sharp, and I really appreciate the emphasis on the fact that when you say that we should keep moving, we should not give up, we should leave our comfort zone, you're actually not saying that we will not fail. We will fail, but the ability to keep moving despite that failure is what we are talking about here. And Asmo Oduye dropped in the chat to say, so the basics or the summary of this is no retreat, no surrender. We keep moving, we keep making efforts. Thank you so much, Ben, for that lovely insight. While we are waiting for people, if you have comments, raise your hand and I will give you the floor to speak. While we're waiting for comment, I just want to also share an insight from my own end as well. I studied physics electronics and I had an HND. So for those of us, if you know someone that has HND in the financial institution in Nigeria, you are likely going to be a contract staff, right? So I came into an environment where I was given a platform to start as a full-time staff, right? But my comfort zone was I was getting promoted, I was getting raised, I was doing fine. So I asked myself, will I continue to carry this HND and not do something different? I studied physics with electronics with a distinction certificate in a polytechnic. Now I'm in an environment, a financial institution. What can I do differently? So I told some people that I want to go and start economics starting from year one and going through 5 years program, have a BSc program. You know, people will do conversion, people will do a lot of things that people do. I felt, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go back to school. I want to go to a federal institution, well recognized and appreciated. By the way, I went to University of Lagos to go and start a degree program from 100 level. And wow, within 5 years, aside COVID, I spent 6 years. You know, when you started, you like, it was not easy for me, busy at work, need to go to write exams, need to use my leave days and all of that. But today, I'm very happy. When I tell people I have HND physics with electronics and BSc 2-1 in economics, I'm like, wow, they're struggling to align physics with economics. But it was through that comfort zone. I'm not comfortable. I had to do that. It was stressful. Today I'm doing something, and I'm also thinking I need to go back to school. I want to go and try something. I want to explore, like Ben said. So, for all of us, the basics or the fundamentals we are talking to us about it. Don't always be comfortable. Your comfort zone can be your enemy most of the time. And like I keep saying, Jeff has done fantastic job about this book. All the gray areas, all your concerns, he has already addressed it. Because some people can say that, oh, jumping from a cliff or trying yourself against height and all of that. You say, no, I'm not saying risk your health. I'm not saying take a stupid risk, but it's telling you that look at your career today. A lot of people cannot speak. I know people that we have invited to speak to us on Kaizen here. They would not want to speak. They are very worried about what would they say. How will I present it? Will people not mock me? And they will come on this platform to come and speak. And everybody will keep clapping for that. And a practical example I know I will give, I'll say it. It's Abolaji. For those of us that listened to Abolaji 3 weeks ago, in fact, when I was listening to Abolaji, I was like, wow, look at the kind of knowledge she was ditching out. And this was the person we were begging to come and talk. And she's made of very good and insightful knowledge. Also, Evelyn, I was there when Moses was speaking to her as well. So that's to tell us that we are all made, we have all of these positive vibes in us. We are blessed. However, we need to leave our comfort zone to explore. And then we can now start enjoying the benefits. And lastly, before I give the floor back to Benedict, is the fact that you stand to lose every single thing if you don't explore. You lose everything when you don't explore. So as you explore, Jeff said, start celebrating as you are taking that baby step. Start that celebration immediately. So, peeps, what we're emphasizing here today is leave your comfort zone, explore, dare, conquer your fear, do things that naturally people will not want to do. Because the more you do things people are not willing to do, the more you are creating a niche for yourself. And the competition is getting slower. Just look at it, where there are maybe like 1,000 people with HND, maybe at my level. I decide to go and take a 5-year course and I start all over again. I've reduced the competition to a bucket of people that will take that step. So you see that the competition will get lower, lower, lower as you move forward and as you take more risk. So I'll hand over the mic to Ben while we are also waiting for any one of you with comment. Just raise your hand and I'll give you the floor to talk. Ben, over to you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kazim. Thanks for that insight. Amazing. The reason I raised my hand was there is a very interesting question by Sani Mohammed Olakunle, and I'll just read it out. Do you count this situation as combating fear or applying wisdom. Where you have declined a robust offer because you have been forewarned that there are obvious obstacles and challenges that may eventually result into your failure on the role. Would you count this situation as combating fear or applying wisdom? Let me just give a quick take so I can have other people also react. Now, from the way you have phrased the question, Sunny, it's looking for me like it's fear. The way you have phrased the question, maybe the circumstances is a little bit different. Now, let me try to explain. Now, in the things that you have highlighted, in the things that you have positioned, it would seem as if everything pertaining to that particular role is a challenge. There hasn't been anything that has highlighted the opportunities thereof and how it ties to your aspiration for yourself. The fact that Benedict and Kazim and Moses and Abolaji have tried something and failed does not translate to the fact that Sani would fail at it. If Sani is going to do what is different, what is enhanced from what they did. So there is wisdom in learning from the experiences of others, not in turning away from the opportunities that are available in those experiences. So there is wisdom. Applying wisdom is you take the experience of Kazim, of Benedict, of Moses, of Abolaji, what they did, how they failed, what you could do differently, what were those challenges, what were their strengths and weaknesses, what do I have as a strength over them, and all of that, and my personal motivation. Because you cannot undermine the resolution of somebody who is motivated to do something, right? And all of those things. And that's where understanding comes into play. So that you're not just reacting out of the fear of failure of others, but the wisdom that you can get from their failure. All right, I could see Moses' hands is raised. Moses, please.
Just before Moses, let me just add. So Ben is spot on this. I'm very clear. The only thing I just want to say is some people, it depends on the context of that, have been forewarned, right? It depends on the warning. If the warning is, that place is stressful, do you want to ask the person, what are the opportunities that come with the stress? Like Ben said, for example, today, you are earning 50,000 as a teacher, you resume 7:45, you close 3 p.m., and everything seems, you are fine, right? But somebody is telling you to pick up another job where they will pay you 500,000 naira, but you'll be resuming 7 o'clock and be closing 8 p.m. So you need to understand what have you been forewarned about. You have been forewarned about 450,000 additional salary, right? With additional responsibility and task to pay. Because somebody paying 50,000 is using quote unquote for 50,000 now. Somebody is paying 500,000. You don't expect 500,000 to use you exactly the same way 50,000 is using you. So we really need to understand that context, understand the opportunities like Ben emphasized, and then you'll be good. I'll take Moses. You have 1 minute to go. Moses, over to you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Kazim and Ben. This is very, very insightful. So just quick one. What I think I do most of the time when I'm afraid is there's a particular phrase. It helps me, but it may not help everybody. I just say, "All die and I die." So I make peace with my worst case scenario. If I do this and I fail, this is what happens. Am I fine with that? Yes, I'm fine with that. I'll do it anyways. If it comes out good, good. If it comes out bad, I'll learn and I'll keep going. That's just as simple as I put it. So I just say, "Well, all die and I die. Let's keep going and keep learning." That's how life is, and we keep growing. So that's all I want to chip in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Solomon, for that contribution. We're exactly 8 o'clock. Just to remind us, we do this every 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, just 30 minutes, where we have experts like Ben speak to us about their insight. I don't even know Ben is partly a Cameroonian, but don't worry, I'll come and ask you on Monday about that. So we invite people like Ben to speak to us. So if you're also willing to share your thoughts with us, you can chat me up. We have a WhatsApp group that you can also join and share your thoughts. You can reach out to me for next week or any other week that you think you are ready. And just also mention we are available on YouTube, on X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Follow us. And by the end of this book, we'll be doing a game just to test our knowledge. And I'm using some expos like the losing strategy and some of those things that Ben has said. I want to thank everyone for this, and we hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much, Ben, for sparing us this insight, and we really appreciate. Let's have a wonderful night. Bye bye and good night. Bye.